What's up, guys? My name's Jesse. I'm doing a Saturday Crusade here with my boy Johnny Mize. Sad.
Howdy.
Yeah, and this is our Saturday Crusade. So, Johnny, you want to talk about Undertale?
Yeah, I feel like it's a game that gets all sorts of praise, and rightly so. But nowadays, it's coming to more of like people tend to think it's more annoying than inspiring and impressive, and I honestly want to battle against that.
You want to battle against that? Like, you think it deserves more credit still than it's being given? Kind of like that?
Yeah, I think that in origin, the game was made as a music project, which not a lot of people really read into that, I'm assuming. But what it was originally written for is Toby Fox, the creator, had done this thing with Earthbound, and he decided he wanted to make his own game. But instead, he decided to take his own music and mix it and record it. And before he even had the story done, he had every track of the soundtrack finished.
So, originally it started because he wanted to make music, and then eventually that music became the soundtrack, or did he intended for this music to be a soundtrack?
He intended for it to become the soundtrack to Undertale, but his main focus was to get the music in there because he felt like it would give more of a emotion to it.
Okay. I've actually never played Undertale. Could you give me like a summary of the story real quick?
So basically, you start off as a human character who you can name whatever you want, but that eventually becomes irrelevant. Anyways,
They just start calling you like person or knight or something like.
well, they'll say they refer to you by your name, but they don't. Let's just, for all intents and purposes, call him / her Frisk, because they don't give it a gender.
Okay.
So Frisk is, gosh darn, I got hair on my leg.
It's fun.
Frisk is a human who decides to go up on this mountain that has this huge curse behind it. It's like, if you go up on the mountain, you'll never be seen again. Well, they go up on the mountain, they fall in, and they are eventually found by who everyone calls Goat Mother, Toriel. And what she does is she takes you back to the ruins, which are her home, and she tells you, you're going to be her new daughter / son, which that's kind of creepy, but at the same time, she's very loving about it, so it doesn't make you think anything sinister is going on. But as the story progresses, you meet different characters, and you go on this huge adventure to try to get out of the ruins. She eventually says, okay, you know what, if you really want to go, I'll let you go. But that's only after you battle her.
So it's kind of like an adventure-based game. Like you go on these little, basically adventures trying to escape.
Mm-hmm. It's an adventure RPG.
Is it more like puzzle or I think it's more puzzle, isn't it? It's not much about the battling.
It's very much so a puzzle.
Yeah, I'm very big on puzzle games. Like most puzzle games I've actually played have always been like these horror games, because that high like pressure of someone trying to kill you makes it a lot harder to do puzzles in the moment. But I haven't really played a lot of like at ease puzzle games before, like puzzle games where it's like you're all relaxed and calm. It's always been like these high stressful ones.
And the thing about this game is that it's funny in the way that it does the puzzles.
How so?
A lot of them. It's just they will take certain puzzles that you're doing at the time, and this one character, my favorite of the game, Papyrus. Well, no, second favorite. My first favorite is Sans, but I'll explain him later. Basically, Papyrus is this goofy character who takes you on a quite the ride. He's supposed to capture any human found in the underground, which is where you've fallen to through the mountain. And what he does is he sets up these little puzzles, but every time he does, he realizes that he forgot to finish part of it, and he goes back to give whatever it is that the human is supposed to use. He gives them the item, and so along his journey to give them the item, he, like, in one of them, he's supposed to put an orb on a human's head, so that way the human will get shocked if it doesn't go the correct way through the puzzle. Well, he forgets to put the orb on the head, so he has to track through, and along the way he makes tracks so that you can follow them perfectly and get out.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
You see, yeah, I've never actually played Undertale. I'll probably have to go look it up now. I feel like a lot of people have played it, but I've never actually, like, know anybody's played. Like, I've seen a lot of Undertale, like, videos and stuff, but I've never actually played it. Have you actually sat down and played it yet?
I've sat down and I've played up to the part where you meet Undyne. She is the big head of the Royal Guard, which Papyrus is a part of, and she is the one who really, really wants to capture a human.
Or, like, what's the purpose of capturing them? Like,
The
slave labor, or, like...
I take too much time to explain right in this moment. I will explain that as I go along.
Okay.
Basically, you go along, and after you meet Papyrus, as you meet Papyrus, you meet Sans.
Mm-hmm.
Sans is a funny character. He seems like the quirkiest character of the game, but it turns out later on that he's got some secrets. The cool thing about Sans is, like, he, as you go through the game, you see different parts of the map. Well, Sans will say, okay, later on when you see him, he asks you if you want to go to have lunch.
Yeah.
And if you say yes, he'll say, oh, come this way, I know what a shortcut. And he'll walk like you're going further away, and as soon as you get off screen, you're there at the place.
That's actually kind of funny you mentioned that. Have you ever played, what was it called? Far Cry 4?
I have not.
Well, in this Far Cry game, place, you go eat dinner with this one guy, and the goal is to just leave or escape because he, like, says he's going to be gone for a while. You actually sit there for 2 hours, you win the game. He comes back and helps you.
I did hear about that.
Yeah. Can you imagine if it was just something like that? Like, if you followed him, you just beat the game?
It would be pretty cool.
But his secrets, like, is he just mischievous, or is he, like, malicious? Like,
he's a mischievous
he
character.
just likes to play tricks.
He loves playing pranks. He loves.
So he's not, like, a threat to everybody. He's just, trying to have some fun.
No, he's not a threat to everybody. But so Undertale is unique in the fact that it's one of the only games where you do not have to kill anyone in the game, but you can choose to kill everyone in the game. If you do so choose, and I do mean everyone.
So, even though, like, you can kill everybody, is there, like, an actual evil path? Like,
yes.
So you can choose to be evil and good.
Yeah.
Or is what I mean. You can't be both.
Yes, you can choose, hey, I'm not going to kill anybody, and I'm going to go down this route, and that's typically called the pacifist route.
Yeah.
And what that leads you to is a very happy and emotional ending. I cried.
Okay.
Don't at me.
Don't at you. Everyone's going to at Johnny now.
Don't at me at Joe Max Games.
Yeah. Joe Max Games, I forgot to mention that. Joe Max Games, go check Johnny out, his channel. I actually looked up your channel one time. I couldn't find it, so you have to go show it to me after this.
Okay.
With the evil path.
The evil path takes you down a really screwed up. So basically, throughout the whole pacifist route and neutral route, if you decide to kill some people but leave some alive, you get the neutral route, which is...
Are there, like, douches in the game that you want to kill?
Yeah.
How many kills does it take to become neutral or evil?
1.
Just one kill makes you neutral, right?
1 kill makes you neutral, and if you want to become evil and stay evil, you have to kill every single character in the game except for Dr. Alphys. But I'm not going to spoil too much of the story.
Yeah, I don't know when this game came out, but I don't want to spoil like too much of it.
2015. It's
Yeah, it's 4 years. I mean, I guess it really wouldn't be that big of a deal, but let's avoid the ending anyway.
Yeah.
So,
nonetheless, what you do is in the evil path. I will spoil this for anyone who decides they want to try the genocide route and are like,
just
hey,
skip like 10 seconds or whatever.
Hey,
so just...
I killed. What is it? I killed everyone along the way. Why is it not letting me do the genocide? Well, because you gotta stick around and you have to kill every single one of them. You have to go back and forth and grind. Gaming term, not dirty term.
I think they know.
But you have to go back and you have to grind for the small characters, the little ones, your Winsums, your Froggets, which are two awesome little characters. One's a frog that like has mouth belly, and the other one's a fly that's like so insecure and shy, and it's just. Oh.
I mean, if I was friends with the frog, I'd probably be insecure and shy too. If I was a fly, I mean that kind of makes sense.
And this, if you go through and you go back and forth and keep killing them, eventually, the music, which, like I said, there's so much great music in the pacifist and neutral route that if you get to each place, you'll listen to it and it's like, oh my gosh, it's amazing. But if the second you've started the genocide route,
no music.
It just has this little looping track of what appears to be someone walking.
Well, I just want to say like a few things. Well, first of all, I like the idea of going from like good or evil, because Infamous, I think, was the first game I played. Yeah, where you get to choose your paths. And I always thought that was just the best thing ever. And like Star Wars Force Unleashed, there wasn't really like a good path, but there was like a not as evil path. Was it the second game? I think maybe it was both of them.
The first game.
There was like more like a good neutral, and then there was like the evil, because you are a Sith throughout the game, but you get to choose what kind of Sith you were. Like you didn't have to be full blooded bad. And I always like the option of being good or bad, because I feel like in a game you should be able to choose that. Like you should be able to choose your own, like your path or your destiny.
Yeah.
And I understand like if you have to be good because it fits the storyline, but you could be like chaotic good or neutral good. And the second thing I want to say is I think you're definitely right about music and gaming being very underappreciated. Like I haven't done a lot of like music stuff. Like I've been in choirs before because I went to a Catholic school. I played in bass, but I feel like the soundtrack to games really set the mood, and nobody really notices it. It's just something that they kind of expect, and I don't feel like it gets the appreciation it deserves. So I'm kind of glad that you brought that up, actually. I feel the same way, kind of.
When you play Undertale, it honestly does give you that sense of the music is just as important as the game, because every piece of music in the game, in the soundtrack, what the heck am I saying? Tract infection. Anyway, but every single piece of the soundtrack is important to the story, and is vital to the end goal of the story. And when you do the genocide route, you ruin that in more ways than one. If you do the genocide route, this is something I learned through watching videos and stuff. I didn't learn the hard way, thank God, because I want to actually be able to play the pacifist route on my PS4. But if you do the genocide route, unless you delete any history of Undertale from your hard drive, if you do the genocide route, you can never do the pacifist route again.
You can't?
Never.
That is actually pretty cool.
What happens is It's been 4 years. If you get the pacifist ending,
Oh no.
what ends up happening is your character will glow bright red eyes,
Johnny.
and this game over screen will be shown with the picture of all of the characters together, and all of their faces will be marked out.
Oh really?
So it ends pretty badly.
There was another game. I can't think of what game it was, but it was like on the PS2. And whenever you're fighting the final boss, it acted like it was corrupting like the computer or whatever. So you had to actually unplug your PlayStation 1 controller, plug it into
Solid
the
Snake.
Yeah, it was Solid Snake. Yeah, you had to unplug like the first player, then plug it into the second one. And also, my next experience was like Batman Arkham Asylum. Like it was a calendar man, and you actually had to wait until like Christmas or something to get the Easter egg.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was pretty cool. But we're almost out of time, so we'll go on commercial real quick, and we'll be right back.
Attention, all Crusaderlings. I'm playing Kingdom Hearts right now, and Sora and the gang need your help in order to defeat the Heartless. They're low on HP, so in order to help them, all you need to do is send me your credit card number, the 3 digits on the back, and the expiration month and year. But you gotta act fast, because if not, we might just lose Riku and Kairi to the darkness forever.
Have you ever seen the Jerry Lawler versus Andy Kaufman thing?
I actually am not.
No, actually, I might
Yeah, we are
discuss
rolling right now
that.
too. But yeah, keep going.
I'll maybe discuss that. Oh, are we back?
Yeah, we're back.
Oh.
I mean, we can talk about that if you want, or you want to keep talking about Undertale.
Well, you, for one, wanted to ask about what Alaskan pollock is.
Yeah, Alaskan pollock. I've never heard of that. Is it like a salmon, or like is it its own fish?
It's its own fish.
It's a
just
pollock? Is that how you say it?
pollock.
A pollock. Is that like a big, small?
Not to be, just don't, it's pollock, not I'm not going to say that.
Yeah. So is it like, how big is this?
It's probably not that big. It's like,
Just a small? So you like multiple of them, right?
I had like a fillet of it, so I don't really know.
Okay.
I just bought it in the store. It said Alaskan pollock on it.
I mean, if you were talking about strips that big, I'm assuming the fish has got to be like that big.
Like, not
I mean,
that
like
big. Like, it's like, yay big.
Yeah, big. We'll probably have it like up on the screen right here so you guys can see what I'm talking. I don't know what it is, but yeah. So that's very interesting.
But what I was gonna say is, we were talking just a little bit ago about the game mechanics and stuff, and during the commercial break, we had a discussion about what would happen if one of us was to slip up and curse on camera, and I had the funniest thing in my mind. It's a video of Jerry Lawler versus Andy Kaufman, which Andy Kaufman was a great comedian, and Jerry Lawler, this is the one you probably don't know, is one of the greatest Tennessee wrestlers of all time, or at least workers of all time.
Yeah, I remember him. He was the announcer from like a little bit before the Attitude Era, or was he there longer?
He was there before the Attitude Era. He was like 90, probably back to like
no. Jerry Lawler was like early 2000s, right? He was the king.
93 to 94 is when he first came in, but then he stayed in through the 2000s. He's been there for like 20 some odd years.
And he wrestled somebody at WrestleMania, the other announcer at the time. What was his name?
No, that's the Jerry Lawler versus Michael Cole.
Michael Cole. What were they thinking? Michael Cole should not have won that match.
What were they thinking about putting him in the ring and on top of that for 20 minutes?
I'm just saying, I liked Jerry King a lot more. I think he deserved that one.
I mean, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know who else deserved that win?
Who?
Brock Lesnar when he beat Undertaker. If anybody, Brock Lesnar or John Cena should have been the one to do it.
That one I agree with for a different reason.
I'm not saying that Undertaker should have lost. I kind of wish he wouldn't have lost. He should, because he's old. He retired. He deserved that. He was part of the business for so long. But if anybody's gonna do it, Brock Lesnar, because he's he's a beast in real life. He's done UFC. He can actually fight. It kind of makes sense. And then John Cena, just because he was such an icon for so long. But what was your different reason for that?
So my different reason for Cena, Brock, I think would have been justifiable, and I think they have justified it finally after years and years, because he is the main event attraction that people still want to see, even though they kind of butchered his character last year by making him the "I'ma sit at home and do nothing" guy all the way up until Mania 34.
Yeah, and then he beat Goldberg for some reason.
He beat Goldberg at 33. He beat
See,
Reigns
I didn't like that.
at 34.
Goldberg, like, what, WrestleMania 20?
Goldberg versus Lesnar was WrestleMania 20. They had one of the worst matches in Mania history.
It was like, what was it, like 20 seconds long?
It was the equivalent.
Like, they hit each other a few times. Goldberg speared him, the jackhammer was over.
Mm-hmm.
See, like, I thought that could have been such a... Like, they built it up from, like, the Royal Rumble up to that moment. It was kind of like Goldberg won.
So, what happened is both guys were on their way out of the company. And they were both ready to... Goldberg was going home because his contract was coming up and he was not going to renew. Lesnar was headed out of the company, surprisingly not renewing his contract because he wanted to pursue football.
Football?
His original goal was to be a part of the NFL when he first left. And what happened is, on their last night, people had all found out about it. And they booed the crap out of both of them. They booed Lesnar and they booed Goldberg.
Why are they booing Goldberg?
Why did they boo Goldberg? Because he wasn't going to renew. He was just... They were mad at Lesnar.
Wasn't he, like, late 30s?
At the time, he was like...
Maybe he was mid-30s.
Probably mid-30s to early 40s.
I was gonna say, like, that takes a toll on your body. After so long, you need to call it quits, especially when you're, like, Brock Lesnar or Goldberg, where you do big slams. You know, you take bigger hits because you're just a bigger, stronger guy. So I think you need to... I mean, not everybody's Jeff Hardy.
Yeah, Jeff Hardy, it takes his own form of hits because, you know...
He causes so much injury to himself, doing those stupidly high fly... I mean, I guess they were always, like, main event, like, pay-per-views and stuff, but man, he did some dives that are just crazy.
Last year...
Wait, he's back?
Yeah.
I think you remember you told me this in math class. Yeah, he's back.
He's back, and he
shouldn't be.
He ended up hurting his back.
Well, no crap, dude.
And it was right after WrestleMania. And it just so happened that the week that he had, like, hurt his back was the same week that he had just won the SmackDown Tag Team titles with Brother Matt.
Dude, I have, like, the ladder match collection. Have you seen those? I have 1 and 2. Jeff Hardy's in, like, every other one. Doing these stupid off-the-ladder stuff. And I'm surprised he still has a back. Like,
you know, shockingly enough, Matt Hardy's the one who got seriously hurt.
Yeah, did he, like, destroy his spinal cord or something?
What happened is...
Like, he overflipped and then he just...
His pelvis, after... Okay, so Matt Hardy's big thing, for anyone who doesn't know...
Maybe I'm thinking of Matt instead of Jeff Hardy. Who took...
The big flippy-doo bumps were Jeff.
No, yeah, Jeff Hardy is just insane. I think he's on drugs. There's no way you can do that.
Shockingly, he said back in 2009 at least that he had never suffered a broken bone. That would change very quickly.
Yeah, there's just... Because, like, I know everybody gives it crap for saying it's fake or whatever, but if you don't like wrestling because it's fake, I don't know what to tell you, because if you watch movies, you're kind of a hypocrite. But second of all, the impacts and stuff they do take is very real. When you slam someone through a table, it may be like a fake table or whatever, but you get slammed through there and you do hit the ground and you do hit it hard. There's no faking some of that stuff. And I think that's kind of why a lot of high flyers are gone now in wrestling. Like, all your small high flyers are gone because I think the injuries kind of got out and people are like, dude, these stunts are starting to hurt. Like, I know they hurt regardless, but actually physically doing hard, like breaking bones and stuff. I think that they all started taking that toll, and that's where they're like, okay, let's not do this anymore. That's why I think you have a lot more big, muscular dudes who aren't much high flyers anymore. I think the injuries were kind of getting to people.
they've started to reincorporate high flying wrestlers into their matches or into their wrestling. They even started up a cruiserweight division, and these guys, they let go ham on the ropes and stuff. And I think the main reason that you don't see like any of the big guys doing any of the big high flying spots is because the bigger they are, the harder they fall.
Yeah.
When you see someone like the Big Show doing a drop kick, it's impressive.
Dude, speaking of the Big Show, I saw him live one time. You've seen him live, right? You've been...
Mm-hmm.
Dude, you can't comprehend 7 foot, 400 pounds until you actually see that up close. Like, I swear, I was probably 7 feet away. It was like a ramp area, and I was like the upper, and I had to look up and just, God, he was massive. And I think he's a lot more muscle than whenever we first saw the Big Show. When you first saw the Big Show, he was fat. But now he's not even that big.
Me.
He's not even that. No, like he kind of looks like you now, but he was fat. But now he's like a lot more muscle. I think he's worked out a lot more. And like if you compare the old Big Show to the new one, he's so much slimmer. His arms just look big. He's scary. Like that's not the kind of man. Like
there was a picture.
He can clear out a bar room. Let me just tell you that.
There was a picture of it was the day after Big Show had actually there had been a death hoax about him. Someone had said that he had died. The very next day, he posted an Instagram photo of him shirtless, and he had a 6-pack.
A 6-pack?
A 6-pack. The Big Show.
He's not skinny, so he must.
He worked a lot of that fat into muscle.
He probably did, but he looks round still.
Well, that's because you have to wear a singlet, not.
Yeah, I guess that does. I mean, I don't know. He's
not as toned in the chest, but he's toned in the abdomen.
Regardless of what you say, that's a scary man.
Mm.
He's big. Like, of course, like you have your roid people, like Brock Lesnar. Who was Ryback? Mm-hmm. Ryback was on some serious roids. I remember him, dude. There's no way you get that big. I mean, I understand they lift like all the time, but you cannot tell me that man wasn't on roids.
I honestly, I read several articles that were like, there's no way that, like, because if you look at Ryback, when he first started, he was Skip Sheffield in Nexus.
Yeah, he wasn't very big. I think I remember that.
He was a tiny guy. He was bald, but he didn't have the facial hair or nothing yet. And so you saw him run across the ring, and you were like, hey, he's got a good physique, but he's not nothing special.
Normal.
And then he comes back and he's like Scott Steiner levels.
No, it's really funny because, I used to have I had wrestling cards, I think. I had some NXT cards, and we looked at it, and we looked at Ryback, and someone was like, that's the same person. I go, no, it's not. And we're looking at it, it's like, yeah, if we put roids on this dude, it's the exact same person. But I couldn't remember the guy's name, so I'm glad you said that. But speaking of roids, have you seen Hulk Hogan like wrestling and then now Hulk Hogan? I swear he's lost like
sad.
They keep saying like he had spinal problems, so now he's like 4 inches shorter now, and he's like a lot.
Well, yeah.
He doesn't like his arms are like a third the size. Like I understand when you're not working out, but he's like apparently he's shrunk bad after stopped taking the roids.
I mean, he's a lot. He's still got okay muscles on the side. But, like, you see him shirtless, and it's sad to see what he used to be and see him now. And just to the whole back thing, just think about this. If you every night, when you go out if you were a wrestler, every night you go out and you have a finishing move, right?
Yeah.
His was the atomic leg drop.
Yeah.
So every night he was taking this huge bump on his butt that was, every time he did, it sent shockwaves through his spine. I mean, that's the same reason why Matt Hardy ended up with such bad back problems, because he was famous for doing the little double thing off the top rope with his brother. His brother would go for a a splash, and he'd go for the leg drop.
Yeah.
And when he went for the leg drop, after hitting so many of those, his pelvis fused with his spine.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a lot of, like, earlier, I don't think they really thought about it because they were, like, so strong or whatever, but I think they used a lot of bad lifting techniques, too. Like, the suplex, I don't think they had, like, it's really weird because I do sports now, you like, I have a straight back. I bet if you looked at them, you know, have a curved over backs where they arched up, and then, like you said, they probably had their backs bent whenever they did a slam, they didn't have it straight up, kind of because they were tired or something. I feel like WWE now, they probably go over proper techniques now to stop that. But I mean, I guess they can only do so much.
What's more is that nowadays the rings are more padded.
They also like bend more, right? They cave it a little bit.
They cave a little bit, yes,
Yeah.
and that's especially in WWE. Some indie feds I've seen, oof, the rings are bad.
Really? What was it? It was like, what was it? It was like
All American Pro Wrestling.
no, it was like the Raid something. What was it? It's like it was on TV. I used to
Ring
watch
of Honor.
Ring of Honor. Yes, that's what it was. I used to watch Ring of Honor.
Ring of Honor is awesome.
It is awesome, but it's like the difference between Ring of Honor and WWE is just ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you walk out there, it doesn't look spectacular, but the actual like matches going on is really good. I actually liked it, but it was always weird to see like there wouldn't be that many people in the crowd, but there also wouldn't be that many seats either, and like their intros and stuff wasn't as like spectacular as it is now. I mean, not now, but with WWE, it's kind of weird to see the budget difference. Like WWE basically has a monopoly on that right now.
What WWE is they're very much about show business. They're about all this flashy stuff. They're about the big, hot gimmicks with like all the fancy lighting and all the used to be pyro, but now they don't do that. And the Titantron stuff and other places. You like Ring of Honor, you get to actually see what the gimmick is without having to see this huge cluster truck. I stopped myself. Of just this huge cluster truck of colors and videos on screen. You don't have to see that because they live the gimmick. They live what they're doing. They live the wrestling.
I think it's also what WWE does best is that they hire people and then they have them to go do movies. I also think like it wasn't intentional at first, but I think now they're encouraging their wrestlers to go do movies because like The Rock, for instance, is doing all these movies. And when you look up The Rock, you see WWE. He's a WWE wrestler and an actor. Same thing with like John Cena, The Miz. They started doing their own movies. I think it's a lot. Yeah, The Miz is different. He did a few movies.
He did mainly WWE movies, and John Cena is now an actual Hollywood star.
But I definitely think The Rock has definitely helped. I think if you had to pick one of the most
influential.
Yes, The Rock has helped WWE more than anybody else. You could say The Undertaker and John Cena, but he helped so much in the ring, but then he did so much more outside the ring. Like whenever he did his movies, it helped the company out because they're like, this is The Rock, and they go look up who was that guy in the movie. You see him, you see WWE, you see wrestling, and I think that helped out the business so much. He's also been there for quite a long time, and I think he's done a lot.
I think it definitely helped out with WWE, especially in the waning years after, the Attitude Era had ended and after the Ruthless Aggression Era had ended. I think that it definitely helped them out, but the business as a whole is something that I have a huge passion for, and I've actually been thinking about myself going to a wrestling school.
Yeah. I mean, it's basically like, it's a mixture of acting and powerlifting. It's like the world's strongest actors, kind of.
Yeah, it's got a lot of that, but it also has a lot of you gotta have emotion with it. You don't just gotta be a good actor when it comes to getting bad news or stuff like that, or ha ha, I'm big and I'm bad. You got to have the acting when it comes to, like, when you fall, if it didn't hurt, it's got to look like it hurt.
Or if it does hurt, you got to pretend like it doesn't. That's a lot harder.
If it does hurt, then you got to pretend like it doesn't hurt as bad as it really does.
And I've actually seen videos of people, going over how to, like, do stuff, how to fake moves. But, we got to go to a commercial break, so we'll see y'all when we get back.
Hey guys, have you ever wanted to play guitar? Well, me too. But that was way too hard, so I ended up learning the bass. But I always wondered, what if I could play the guitar? Well, with the help of Guitar Hero, I'm now a rock star. And that could be you too. Just come on down to Crusader Kids Guitar Lessons, where I can teach you how to become the ultimate legend of rock and hit some sick riffs like this. Just like that. So come on down and I'll show you how to become the rock legend of your dreams.
And we're back.
So, earlier we talked a little bit about the importance of music in games, and then we talked a little bit about wrestling. Here's something that I don't think we fully got to cover before we were done with our last
break
talk.
Yeah.
Is about before our last break we started talking about how for the fundamentals of wrestling and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I said I'm thinking about joining a wrestling school around here. It's Stride Pro Wrestling is the one who puts on the local shows around here.
Like, how close are we talking about local?
Like local is in Marion.
Okay.
Like as in...
Which is, it's like, 25 minutes away?
20 minutes?
20 minutes away, depending on how fast you drive, or if you take 57.
37 you can get pretty quick, but you gotta know how.
Yeah, okay. But, so you're going to join a wrestling school. Is that going to be like, you're going to try to be a wrestler, correct? You're not going to try to be an announcer or a ref? Or do you just want to get in there because you love the business?
I love the business, and I want to learn about the business. I want to learn how to properly do the things involving the business. I would want to become, or I would want to try to wrestle.
So you want to be an actual wrestler?
Yes, I would want to try to put my hand in at wrestling. And I've talked to a few people about possible training and when I could start.
So you trying to make it like big in there, or are you just trying to do it for a little bit? Or is that like, how far are you trying to take that? I'm not sure yet.
I would suppose that if things go good, I would want that to be my, if things do go good, which, it's very hard to get recognized around anywhere.
I mean, I kind of feel like sometimes, I think it would be a lot easier to become, like, well-known first. Like, Ronda Rousey, for instance. Now, I'm not saying become a cage fighter just to get into WWE. You don't have to do something like that. But she was already well-known, and so it was really easy for her to get in there. I feel like, for the most part, that's what it's come to now. I feel like there's not a lot of... Like, for us, I don't think we realize how deep connections go in wrestling. I feel like it's a lot harder for an outsider to get in than it is someone who's like related or an already known wrestler knew this kid in high school. I feel like it's a lot harder than most people originally think. I don't think it's about just skill, because there's plenty of people who could do the job too. It comes down to just straight up charisma. Like when someone just looks at you, do they like you or not? Mm-hmm. I think it comes a lot down to that.
It comes to a lot of charisma. It comes to a lot of, like you said, it does come to a lot of connections. And I happen to have one particular connection that I will not state right now. But,
I understand that.
He's been a local promoter in Tennessee for over 20 years, over 30, probably over like 40 years, honestly, because I've seen some tapes of his.
Yeah, I also hope you know that this could be a meme now. Johnny has connections. I know a guy. You're probably going to get memed.
Johnny has connections.
Yeah. Why don't anyway, continue what you're saying.
But so I'm thinking it's not something that I would want to do as like a full, if I could, I would love to do it as a full career.
Yeah.
But it's not something that I can feasibly do as a full career.
Well, yeah, I understand that. Like, it's your dream job. You would want to do that, but you want to keep a very realistic standpoint. Like, odds are this may not happen. So, what are you looking for a backup? Like, if you're going to wrestling schools and doing wrestling, what else are you going to try to do? Do you not?
Well, wrestling school is a lot. It's a lot cheaper than actual tuition. Let's just say that.
Well, I'm pretty sure compared to your colleges, yeah, it's cheaper, but I feel like it does still cost money. You still have to show up there. So will you actually have time to have like a real job or something, or?
Oh, obviously, yes. It's only like once per month, or not once per month. Once per. No. If you do it right, you can do it maybe 3 times a week, going in, training, and if you have a job on the side, yeah, you can obviously do that, because there's like 2-hour sessions each time.
I feel like also a lot of it is just you have to do yourself. In fact, there's a lot of it is just saying you have to get up every day and go work out, because your physical ability what matters the most. Like, to make it big, yes, you have to just be this likable guy, but to just get your foot in the door, you have to be physically capable to do these moves. And I know people help you, and it makes it a lot easier, but the fact is you still need to be able to do it. You got to have somewhat cardio to keep going. You got to have a certain amount of pain tolerance. I feel like there's a lot of work, but of course, yeah, you got to have your classes. But so you're saying it's cheaper than regular tuition, right?
I'm saying that to do it is cheaper than regular tuition to go to
Is it still like, is it just like something like $200 a week or something? Like, what kind
200, 300, something like that.
Something like that. I mean, it's very, very plausible, especially if this is something you truly feel passionate about. I don't know if you could get a loan like you could for student loans.
You could not.
You could not. Like, it just has to be.
You could not.
No, okay. I feel like that makes it really hard. I feel like something you have to work to save up for just to get in there.
I think the guys around here, they don't charge as much, but that's like if you want to go to a big school like a Killer Kowalski when he was alive. If you wanted to go to one of his schools, you'd have to save the money.
Yeah, I also think that's really strange that you say that, because I know like acting and music business. First of all, you just gotta have it. I understand that, but I feel like when it comes to acting and music biz, they practice a lot. Mm-hmm. Now, once you already make it, it's fine, it's whatever. But I feel like, especially the music, acting may not be so much. Acting's kind of a thing. Either you have it or you don't.
Depends. So. I've done just basic high school productions and stuff.
Yeah. I've done a little bit of grade school stuff, but yeah,
and the high school productions are on a little bit of a higher level than grade school, of course.
Well, yeah, of course, because they expect more.
But I've but I've done musicals with Art Starts, which is
speaking of that, got a musical coming up at all?
No, right now my schedule is free.
See a scout out there looking for you. I'll leave your number down for them. I'll give them your number.
Here it is.
Yeah. No, I'm not going to put it up on the screen. You're going to have like random douchebags calling you and making fun of you.
That's why
Internet's a cruel place.
That's why you do this and you put up the number for Angry Santa Claus.
Gosh. Or like those denial. Apparently they're denial numbers. Like, you call them like, you had just been denied by this person. It's like, that's crazy. If someone gave me a number and it was a denial number, I don't know how to feel about that.
I mean, there's also ones that's like the Idiot Hotline.
The Idiot is that a thing?
There's such a thing as the Idiot Hotline.
I'm surprised I've never been given that yet. It's stuff you don't think about, honestly. Like, when people just give you a number, you usually just assume it's real.
Oh, God. There's one time I called this place called Gatorland.
Gatorland?
And it's an amusement park, or no, not an amusement park. It's a theme park down in Florida.
Yeah.
And it's based on gators.
Yeah.
Alligators. And I was watching a comedy sketch by Gabriel Iglesias, one of my favorite comedians of all time.
Yeah, I've seen a few of his shows. They're not really shows. I think of like listen to bits and pieces of him.
And I think it was in Hot and Fluffy. Was the
No, I was thinking a different way. Yes, I've seen Fluffy. I've seen.
Kevin Hart.
No, I was thinking of this other. It's this Indian guy. I know who. I don't know why I didn't. I know Gabriel. I've seen a lot of his shows. I know he's Fluffy, but for some reason I was thinking of this other dude. I can't think.
Indian. What do you mean?
He was like of Indian nature. I can't think. I'll look up his name later. But he was like at one time or another he was like the #1 comedian or whatever. But yeah, I've watched a lot of Fluffy. So I think I've watched 3 different specials he's had. How many specials does he have?
He's had. Let me think. Hot and Fluffy.
I've seen Hot and Fluffy.
There was something else fluffy. Aloha Fluffy. I'm sorry for what I said when I was hungry.
I think I've seen that one.
The Fluffy movie. And his most recent one, which I forget the name of. Oh yeah, One Show Fits All.
Yeah, I think I remember the last one I watched or something. He said like he had to go like lose weight or something, and they were gonna call him Buffy or whatever.
That was the Fluffy movie.
How's he doing? Has he gotten slimmer? Like I haven't seen.
He got slimmer for a while, and then he started gaining it back. And it's something that everyone or anyone who tries to lose weight, it's hard to do.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
hard to keep
yeah.
at it and keep going for it.
It's a struggle. It's not as easy as people think it is.
I just recently started a diet, and
yeah, you talked about that when you got here. Yeah, what is it? The 10?
Less than 1,500 calories.
1,500 calories. Yeah.
And it's typical diet. Typical.
I went on the what is it? I can't forget. It's the keto diet. Yeah, I went on the keto diet for wrestling season.
I think that might actually help me if I tried that.
Yeah, the keto diet. I only heard like 2 people ever talk bad about it. Is because it said like it raised your cholesterol, but the problem was there's 2 different types of cholesterol. There's like the good and the bad, and it raised the good and lowered the bad. So yes, you had raised cholesterol, but you also had lowered cholesterol. And I don't know why people were hating on it. I've looked into it, and even if you have high amounts of the good cholesterol, it's really not bad for you. And it only happens like certain people who just have cholesterol problems. Of course, you're gonna have a problem when you go on a heavy fat diet. But the whole point of keto diet is like you eat a bunch of fat, so your body starts digesting just fats because that's what it has a huge amount of. Mm-hmm. And then eventually you'll start eating the fat out of your body too, for nutrients and stuff. And it was hard because when your body first goes into ketosis, you want like a bunch of bread. You want that stuff. Like you have cravings, and cravings are really hard, especially in today's world, to just quit. It's hard to say no when food's so available. Like when you can just go into your kitchen and grab something and no one will ever know. It's so easy to grab.
Or like you can just drive to McDonald's, get you like a burger or something like that.
Especially when you have school and you don't have time to actually like sit down and make a healthy food choice. But I think like whenever I do wrestling season, it's so much easier because I think people hold you responsible, and you're doing it for more than just yourself. And that's why it's a lot easier to lose weight. But when you're just by yourself, to actually sit down and weigh yourself every day, tell yourself to say no by yourself, it takes a lot of self-motivation. And when you're having a bad day, I love to eat food. Food is great, and food makes me happy. So when you have a bad day, I want to eat food. I want to go grab that.
It's comforting.
It is like, comforting.
People don't, only people who suffer through it, which is apparently half of America.
America has a problem. But at the same time, I don't feel bad for those super morbidly obese. Because when you get that big, they usually don't try to help themselves. Like if you're trying to lose weight, I understand that, but I think once you get so big, you need to sit down and tell yourself that you have a problem and you need to do something about it.
By that point, usually, it's over something that happened to them.
Yeah, I know. Usually, like there's something that happens that usually causes like depression eating or stress eating.
Depression eating is one of the biggest.
I feel like that's a big problem.
Obesity.
But on the flip side, though, you know, if you truly cannot help when you're that big, it's like it's not just an inconvenience or it's not just a personal thing. That's a serious risk to your health, and it needs to be treated like that. I don't understand. Like, you shouldn't be going around calling people fat. You know, that's not right. That's just me. But when somebody looks like a walking heart attack, I don't know, you feel like you should say, hey man, you really need to lose some weight, you're 600 pounds. Do you think that's appropriate if they're getting that big?
I think it's appropriate to stop them whenever they have the signs of it already in motion. Like, you know, I've always been someone who eats a lot, and my family has a history of morbid obesity.
Yeah.
My uncle died when he was very young, and he weighed about 1,000 pounds. And at that point, it's not just that you have to deal with the fact that you're already overweight, but it's the fact that whomever is your caretaker at that point, because when you're that big, you don't just get up and say, I want a chip.
It's almost like you're disabled.
You are.
Yeah.
Because all of your bones have said, and muscles have said, nope.
Well, I mean, just think about it. That's 1,000 pounds. To just lift 1,000 pounds, like deadlift, is incredible, but to actually walk around with that, and that's just... It's extreme.
Hanging off your body on your arms, your face, your belly.
It's a serious... Not only does it, like, decrease your lifespan, but it ruins the quality. And I can understand if you're overweight. Like, I don't blame you for being overweight, but I think when your health becomes a problem, especially if you have a family, because your family wants to help you, but I think also in today's world, you don't want to offend them. I feel like that's why it's really hard to talk about weight, because you're scared of offending them. But I feel like when your health is a problem, you need to address it. Like, right now, your heart rate's out of control. You can't get up out of the chair by yourself. You're at higher risk for a heart attack or a stroke. We need to get you some help. I definitely think that's when you need to say, listen, you can't do this by yourself. Let me help you.
Well, and it's at that point that a lot of people try, but it's just that...
The bigger you get, the harder it is to... Because you build that habit.
You build a habit, and by the time you want to quit, it's almost like if you've smoked for 20 years.
Yeah, exactly. It's like smoking, you know? It's not the exact same way, but there are some people that are addicted to eating, and you can't just tell them, just don't pick up the cheeseburger, because that's not how it works.
Or better yet, just eat one.
Yeah.
Because at that point, it is about self-control, but it's your brain is hooked on it. At that point, you're so used to doing it all the time that you can't stop yourself. You can't. And so a lot of times it has to come from the help of family and the motivation of family members to get the person to stop.
And like I was saying earlier, it's so much harder when you're by yourself. When you have people encouraging you and helping you keep track of yourself, it's so much easier. Because like during wrestling season, you'll have people that walk up to you and be like, hey, how much have you eaten today? Hey, what are you about to go eat? Maybe you shouldn't do that. And then you're like, maybe he's right. Maybe I should just put it down. But they're also on the flip side, you also have to encourage it. You can't just bash people when they mess up. You gotta encourage that good behavior too, just like anything else. If you encourage somebody to lose weight, it definitely helps them lose weight because they know this reward's coming up. And I've seen a lot of systems like they'll give like money for how much weight you lose and stuff like that. Or maybe if you lose this much weight by the end of the month, maybe we'll take you on a trip or something. Like not only
some offices, some workplaces do that. They do. Not like the TV show, of course.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Biggest Loser
is
what the program is. And if you lose a certain amount of weight, you actually sometimes can get things like pay raises, and that's a huge deal.
It is a huge deal.
And that's a huge motivation, or a huge motivator, is that I think the final thing I want to end on is just that, you know, take care of yourself. You know.
Yeah. Actually, I was thinking about we almost have to go to commercial break, but I kind of like where this is going, and so you want to record a little bit more. I think
Sure.
I kind of want to record a little bit more, so we'll be back after this.
We'll be back.
Do you have some kids giving you maybe a teensy bit of a hard time? Just call me, and you don't have to worry about them anymore.
And we're back.
Yeah, and we left off talking about kind of some personal things, personal struggles. But the reason why I want to keep going is I just want to go in your daily struggles. Like, what is got to be your daily struggle every day?
God, it just not well. For one, I have most of my life been what you would consider. I don't know if you'd say morbidly obese, but
Overweight.
I've been, according to charts, obese.
So you say an overweight, or is it like a combination of bullying because if you're overweight? Like, what is your biggest struggle that you go through every day?
So anymore, I don't really get bullied for my weight. My friends are the ones who really like to pick at me for that.
That's just
thing.
friends. Friends just pick on each other.
No, I don't get bullied for my weight as much anymore. I think it's because half of America has joined me. That's a joke.
Yeah,
but
it's more like 20%.
It's just growing up as a kid, being overweight and stuff. It did put a target on my back. It did put a thing like, hey, this is a pudgy kid, let's make fun of him, let's say all this stuff to him, and I had many troubles, especially in junior high, when people started to get just really cruel about it. And there was one particular bully. For the purpose of this, I'm just going to call him Butterguns.
Yeah.
And Butterguns, on a daily basis, decided to make my life a living hell.
So is that still going on? Like, is that still affecting you today, or are you leading up to that?
It's something that caused me a lot of trouble in my life, from many facets. Because Butterguns said things to me like, "You're worthless, you're a piece of trash, you were adopted, no one loves you," and just me and him, he would always say that kind of stuff to me, and then finally I started defending myself, and I started calling him things back, and I'll admit some of them weren't nice, and one he did a day in junior high later, he said something to me, and I was sitting with my girlfriend at the time, and he said something to me, and I said something about his mom, and he walked over to me and he shoved me while I was sitting down, and he said, "Get up, I'm gonna fight you right here, right now." I said, "I don't really want this right now, and he said, "No, you're gonna fight me right now." And he shoved me one more time. I stood up to to tell him, "I'm not gonna fight you." Next thing I know, bam, he hits me right in the jaw. And I was labeled as the bad guy from that.
Yeah.
I was labeled as the person who had said horrible things, but yet I had been being bullied by him for 3 months at this point. And it caused me tons of troubles. It not only progressed the fact that I eat whenever I'm like super upset, and I probably ate way more than I ever should have at that point.
So basically, from the instance on, basically it caused the trouble in your life that you're still feeling now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It caused a lot of trouble, and it I'm just gonna say this is that I feel like a message to leave with anyone is to just love yourself, not care what other people think, because you are a wonderful person. I don't care who you are, unless you're like a murderer or something.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Hitler, I mean, you don't. I don't think you get that pass.
But
I'm glad you say that, because I feel like definitely this channel has opened my eyes to that you just gotta be who you are, because I really don't care if I offend you, if all I'm doing is stating the fact. Like, if I insult you and you feel bad, I mean, I will feel bad. But if I'm just saying the truth and people don't like it, I gotta learn to just say that's the truth. There, if they don't like it, they don't like it. That's who I am. I say the truth. I'm very frank. And I did have problems growing up because I wasn't always the best reader or speller, and I was a little bit overweight. But it was basically just I wouldn't say I was dumb, but I wasn't a very good social person, and that caused a lot. And this channel has definitely shown how much I've grown in that aspect. I'm a lot better speaker now. I can talk to anybody. I'm glad you say that, because that's a message that a lot of people don't hear very often, or if they do, they don't usually think it means a lot, which it does mean a lot. It's kind of why I'm glad to have you on here, Johnny. You definitely have a different experience of life than I have, but you're still a good person. I definitely think you're a good person. I think that, if anybody doesn't like you because of who you are, that's not how they should be. I mean, you do like music and acting. I'm big on sports and stuff. We come from different branches of life, but we can still come down and have a conversation and talk like people.
Mm-hmm. And it's the similarities in life that brings everyone together, and it's the differences that keep us individual.
I was about to say something, but you're very right about that, because the similarities bring people together. But I was worried for a second there you were about to the individual, like the differences put people apart, which you're right there. The differences keep us individual, it keeps us people, it keeps us fresh. I feel like if you had a group of people that all think the same, that's boring. There's no progress there.
It would be like a group of androids.
Yeah. And I feel like, I'm not going to bash on the science community, but I feel like that's kind of what the science community is like. And you can never see, if everybody thinks the same thing, it will slow down progress.
That's why
I feel like there's no new ideas there.
That's why I love the people who are constantly trying to show the new things of society. They're not just like, this is how it is, this is what so-and-so said in the 19 whatever, or the 18 or the 15 whatever.
Yeah.
And I honestly do think that it's individualism is something that makes each person unique.
Yeah.
And just to return to the topic real quick of keeping yourself or loving yourself and not caring is, for this month right here, I think they said is Mental Health Awareness Month.
I think it is.
And
I don't want to write that in stone, but I think it is, yeah.
For the past 2.5 years, I've dealt with, no, it's even longer than that. What year is?
It's 2019.
No, since I was in 8th grade, so it's probably 4.5 years, something like that.
I want to say, yeah, let's just say it's 4 years.
Ever since I started getting bullied by him, 4.5 years I dealt with depression and mental struggles, and people have been present for some of my down moments, and I know I've talked to you on a couple of them, and it's just one of those things where you gotta love yourself. You can't let other people dictate who you are, because if you do, you start to believe, well, I can't be good because they don't think I am, and that's absolutely not true.
And I think it's a lot worse in today's world, because the simple fact of social media. Now, I'm not saying social media is evil or whatever. I know a lot of people will think it is, but it's not evil. But the fact is, it was just a great analogy that I watched, and it was about this kid, and he was from the 80s or something, and he was in 2nd grade or whatever. He peed his pants in the lunchroom. All the kids laughed at him. He ran away, came home, cried, but His mom took him to took him to go get food. He came back the next day and it was fine. And then talked about present day, and the kid did the exact same thing, except the next day, people showed it to him on Snapchat, and then every time he walked through the hallways, people would show him the same video. And the thing is, whenever you post stuff on social media, it never goes away. People don't forget about it, and I think that's what is like a lot harder, because one mistake can be drilled into you a lot more because you catch it on video now. Used to, people just forget about it, but now that they have it on video, they can constantly remind you of the one single failure. And I think that's why it's a lot harder for stuff to let go now, especially if you're being targeted for bullying. But yeah, I definitely agree with that.
You know, and well, the sad fact is that there are kids in our, own neighborhood that probably deal with depression and suicidal thoughts on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And some of it's because of the fact that they may have something about them that they don't want other people to know, and it causes them anguish over it. And others is because people already do cause anguish towards them.
Yeah.
They already do mock them and berate them, and it's just something that needs to stop. Bullying is the worst thing to happen in this world.
Yeah. Now, I am going to say this. I might offend somebody. You may disagree with me on this, but I do have a problem with the self-diagnosis of depression. And I don't like the idea of somebody having just a horrible week. Like, let's say something bad happens to them, and then they know they're depressed. Do you think that people should self-diagnose depression, or do you think they should have a doctor talk to them first? Because I personally don't think it's fair to say, oh, I'm depressed now, when somebody could actually be depressed, and then them just saying, oh, I'm depressed, even though they may not just be depressed. They may just be having a really bad week. Do you think that's fair for people that are depressed, or do you think it's okay because, like, what are your thoughts on that?
I feel like depression is one of those things that clinical depression is one of those things that is diagnosed by a doctor, and
yeah, because there's a difference between clinical and situational. Some people are depressed just because their dopamine levels from birth are just not as normal as most people, and some people go through hard times in their life where they constantly don't have enough dopamine, or they just can't produce it because of something happened in their life where their body, they're just not happy anymore. And I feel like a lot of people go through situational and say that they're clinically depressed. Like, yes, you're depressed, but some people say they can't produce dopamine. Like, you can, but something happened that changed that. I think that's fair to say. I think there's two different types. There's one where you just can't physically do it, and then there's a type where something has happened or things have happened to cause it.
I feel like, so depression medically, I suppose that there's not maybe as many people who may say that they are depressed. They may not have what you would call like the clinical or medical depression.
Well, yeah, I mean,
but,
yes, you can be depressed and not have the clinical depression, which is just your body just can't produce dopamine. I feel like, yeah, you can still get depressed.
The type of depression that most people suffer through is just one
the experienced ones where you
the experience, the
the situation.
Language. Something happens in someone's life. For me, it was bullying and the death of my grandmother.
Yeah, I feel like that's way more common now than anything else.
I've been dancing around this. But for years and years, as I went through my battles with, I don't know if you'd consider, like, I consider mine depression.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I have a hormonal imbalance.
Yeah.
I have a thyroid imbalance, which causes my emotions to go all over the place.
Yeah.
And I'm I take medicine called levothyroxine, and it's supposed to balance it out. And what just the fact that I suffer through all sorts of the mood changes, mood swings, it makes a day sometimes miserable, sometimes it just makes everything slap happy.
Yeah.
It just really depends.
I can definitely tell that with you. I know some days you're just this absolute goofball, and it does get on my nerves occasionally because you're just nothing.
That's me.
No matter what I would say to you, you just have this slap happy attitude. And other days, it's hard to bring you up. So I definitely know that, and I kind of hate to cut you short. We're about to end soon. I kind of want to end on a little bit happier note. Just know that love yourself, and it's okay to be individual, but you're Joe Max Games. There's no spaces. Had a hard time looking it up. I'm glad you came out here today. I'm glad we got to talk. We had some fun. We had some laughs. We got serious at the end, which is okay. I enjoy that. But is there anything else you want to end on? Just say anything. Doesn't have to be serious, but just.
Well, I've been I've been doing YouTube now for about 2 years to 3 years.
Yeah.
And the stuff that my channel's been purged 3 times, and that's by me.
I only purged my channel once. That's because I took a long break. But yeah.
I purged everything from the gaming stuff that I did, all my old live streams I got rid of, and I started fresh with. I started doing creepy talks with my cousin. Samonic.
What is that? Are you talking about like read scary stories?
Read scary stories. I did a video on her channel where I was a narrator for one of her stories, and but it's something that you look for new things to do. There's not a whole lot anymore. You just gotta look for them.
But actually, that gives me a good idea because I was actually thinking about this. But we could read some scary stories or play horror games, but then try to make a joke out of it. I was thinking like that's something probably we could do, and I'm actually getting ready to go record a Mortal Kombat 11 video after this, and it's because I collected a lot of coins. I'm gonna go into the crypt because it's like a puzzle. And it's kind of creepy. It's really cool to open up to see what you get. I was probably getting ready to record that. I hope that you can go join me for that. I don't know if you have to be home soon. It is like 8:02.
As long as I'm home by 8:30, I should be fine.
8:30. Well, we probably won't have time to do that. But I'm gonna wrap it up. It's Joe Max Games. We're gonna put that down in the description so you guys can go check him out. We're looking for future collabs and stuff like that. I don't know who I'm gonna have next on the show, but hopefully I can get somebody else so we can talk about some things. But yeah, thanks for being on here. I appreciate you spending all this time for having out here.
It's been a good night.
Would you be wanting to come back for later?
Yeah, I think definitely I'd want to come back. Perhaps I could show you some of my projects that I started a while back.
Yeah, I'm not gonna have you on next. I want to get a variety of people on here first, but I'm definitely gonna have you on here for later.
Okay.
Saturday Crusade. So yeah,
it's been nice talking. It's been nice talking to you.
Yeah, we'll see you later, guys.
Hello? What, a social injustice happened to you? Well, how about not getting offended?